Establishing wide shot. Have you ever looked at someone else's life and thought, why can't I be like that? What if I told you that the key to true happiness isn't in becoming someone else, but in embracing who you already are? Stick with me, because today, I'm sharing a story that might just change how you see yourself forever. Let me take you back to a small town called Willow Creek. Character enters scene, back view. There lived a young woman named Sarah. She was 28, with curly brown hair that she always tied back in a messy bun, and a smile that could light up a room if she let it show. Sarah worked as a barista at the local coffee shop, brewing lattes and cappuccinos from dawn till dusk. But her real passion? Baking. Oh, how she loved it. Ever since she was a kid, helping her grandma in the kitchen, kneading dough and mixing batter. Her cakes weren't fancy, they were simple, hearty, with flavors like vanilla and cinnamon that reminded you of home. Close-up of character face with strong emotion. Sarah's days were pretty routine. She'd wake up early, head to work, come home tired, and then bake in her tiny apartment kitchen. She'd experiment with recipes, adding a dash of this or that, just for the joy of it. Her friends raved about her treats. "Sarah, these muffins are amazing," they'd say. And for a while, that was enough. But then, social media crept in. You know how it happens, right? One evening, Sarah scrolled through her feed. There they were, these glamorous bakers with millions of followers. Perfect kitchens with marble counters, cakes that looked like works of art, towering with intricate designs and edible gold. Their lives seemed flawless, sponsored deals, book tours, fancy vacations. Sarah stared at her phone, her heart sinking. "Why aren't my cakes like that?" she whispered to herself. "I'm just ordinary." Character walking on path, sitting alone. From that day on, the comparison started. Sarah would watch tutorials late into the night, trying to copy those elaborate techniques. She bought expensive tools she couldn't afford, piping bags, fondant rollers, food coloring in every shade. Her simple recipes. She ditched them for complicated ones with exotic ingredients. Character walking on path, sitting alone. From that day on, the comparison started. Sarah would watch tutorials late into the night, trying to copy those elaborate techniques. She bought expensive tools she couldn't afford, piping bags, fondant rollers, food coloring in every shade. Her simple recipes. She ditched them for complicated ones with exotic ingredients. Conflict, struggle moment. The struggle hit hard. Sarah's confidence crumbled. At work, she'd zone out, spilling coffee or burning toast. Her friends noticed. "What's wrong, Sarah?" one asked. But she brushed it off. "Nothing, just tired." Deep down, she felt like a failure. Everyone else is succeeding, she'd think. They have talent, beauty, everything. And me. I'm stuck here, with my plain life and plain bakes. She stopped sharing her creations online, afraid of judgment. Nights turned into tearful sessions, staring at her reflection in the mirror. Why can't I be more like them? More creative, more successful, more enough. The doubts piled up like unpaid bills. Sarah even considered quitting baking altogether. "What's the point?" she told herself one rainy afternoon, shoving her apron into a drawer. Her apartment felt empty without the smell of fresh dough. She scrolled endlessly, comparing every part of her life now, not just baking, but her looks, her job, her everything. That influencer has a perfect body. That one travels the world. Why am I so behind? It was a vicious cycle, pulling her deeper into sadness. Have you ever felt that way? Like no matter what you do, you're always one step short. Emotional turning point. Then came the turning point. It was a quiet Saturday. Sarah's grandma, Eleanor, came to visit. At 78, she moved slow but with a spark in her eyes. They sat in the kitchen, sipping tea. Eleanor noticed the dust on the baking pans. "What's happened to my little baker?" she asked gently. Sarah broke down. Tears flowed as she spilled it all, the comparisons, the failures, the feeling of not being good enough. "Gran, everyone else is so much better. Their lives are perfect. Mine's just, meh." Hopeful shift, Eleanor listened, her wrinkled hand on Sarah's. Then she smiled softly. "Oh, honey. Let me tell you something. Back in my day, we didn't have all these screens showing us the world. But I compared too, to the neighbors' pies at the fair, to the ladies with fancier dresses. It stole my joy for years." She paused, her voice steady. "But one day, I realized, those perfect lives. They're just highlights. Not the whole story. And chasing them, it makes you lose what makes you special." Sarah wiped her eyes. "But how do I stop? It hurts so much." Eleanor stood up, pulling out an old recipe book from her bag. It was worn, pages yellowed. "By baking from here," she said, pointing to her heart. "Not from what others do. Let's make your favorite, simple apple pie. No frills, just love." They baked together that afternoon. No fancy tools, just flour-dusted hands and laughter. As the pie bubbled in the oven, the warm aroma filled the air. Character smiling a feeling peace. Sarah tasted a slice, crisp crust, tangy apples, a hint of spice. It was imperfect, with a lopsided edge, but it was hers. Pure, honest, delicious. That moment hit Sarah like a wave. The climax of her struggle wasn't a big failure or win. It was this quiet realization in her grandma's embrace. All those comparisons. They were thieves, robbing her of her unique gifts. Her bakes weren't meant to be showpieces. They were meant to comfort, to bring people together. And that was her strength. Final resolution scene. From then on, things changed. Sarah deleted those apps that fed her doubts. She started baking her way again. Simple, heartfelt recipes. She shared them at the coffee shop, and customers loved them. "This tastes like childhood," one said. Word spread. Soon, she had a small side business, delivering homemade goodies. Not millions of followers, but real smiles, real connections. And you know what? Sarah looked in the mirror one day and saw herself. Not a comparison, but a woman with her own story, her own flavor. She accepted her curls, her quiet life, her one-of-a-kind talent. Abstract symbolic shot. So, what's the lesson here? Stop comparing yourself to others. Their journey isn't yours. When you chase someone else's path, you lose sight of your own. Accept who you are, the quirks, the strengths, the so-called flaws. They're what make you irreplaceable. Abstract symbolic shot. Think about it. What if you embraced your unique self today? What could you create? What joy could you find? Remember, the world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, real, authentic, shining in your own light. If this story touched you, hit that like button, subscribe for more tales that inspire, and share in the comments. What's one thing you'll stop comparing about yourself? Until next time, keep being you. Because that's more than enough.